Hey folks, in this episode, I'm going to show you the most challenging thing to do when you're building a bunkie. Climbing up on the roof to show you one of the challenges with is putting these boards, tongue and groove roof boards on. If this didn't look so good from the inside, as far as just a nice matching kind of lines on the inside of the cabin, I wouldn't use these because they are a pain in the butt, and I'll show you why. So this is on the ridge, top of the roof, and you can see here that this board here is starting to creep a little bit longer than this side. On the outside, I don't really care, but when you go from underneath and look at it from down on the floor in the ceiling, once it starts to get more than 1/4 of an inch, you can see it pretty easily. These lines right here don't line up when you're looking from the underside, and it starts looking funky. Okay, so here's the fix. So one thing you can do is, again, ratchet straps. I've made a point of this. If you're going to build one of these cabins, you need a bunch of ratchet straps. So I take a ratchet strap and I put the hook right here, and I'll try to bend down. Keep in mind, I am standing on these rafters, so don't call OSHA or WCB. So the ratchet strap goes through the window and just grabs a hold of the other end of the roof right there. And then you ratchet that ratchet strap together and you suck those as tight as you can. Unfortunately, I didn't catch it in time, and now I'm a little too far out to fix it with a ratchet strap. So we're having to resort to other solutions. Here, I'll show you. So the only other way to make these have less, like, I want to narrow this up. So you're forced to take two boards, and on the groove side, what you do is you shave a little bit of this off, and then you have to do the same on the tongue as well, so that they sit in closer together. And I've done two boards already, so this one has already been shaved down, and I haven't I don't know if I've gone far enough, but I will start to squish this together as tight as I can. And because I've taken the tongue in this groove here, I've taken the tongue and I've taken the groove down a little bit, it made this a narrower set. And if you do that at least to one, and even a few in a row, you can start to correct it and you won't notice it on the inside. So that's the fix. It's not easy, takes a while, and there's a bit of fiddling around, but I don't want to be looking up at the ceiling and see the lines all kind of cockeyed. So that's the fix. So I want to show these roofing boards are giving me a fit. I have had to really fight to get this as tight as it is, and I would say it's acceptable, but isn't super great. There's a bit of a gap here, and I fought like crazy. That one right there, and I know I'm being maybe fussier than I have to be, but you know, you can see on the other side, there's one. I think it's right there. Anyways, I know it's we're not building a rocket ship, but you try to get it as good as you can. Oh, I was going to show you this too. Again, ratchet strap is your answer. Truthfully, I wouldn't have it even near as good as it is. Just putting these boards, what I do is I put 2 together at a time, just so I see how they fit. And then I make a little more ground up top too. I don't have to handle every board individually while I'm on the roof. These are even a challenge to get together on the ground. And so here's why I think that is. I let it sit. I took this whole package apart. These obviously come as kits, right? And I let it sit in my trailer here over most of the summer now. I stain them in the winter, and I think I kind of messed up by leaving them sit there so long. I should have actually not stained them, pre-stained them, let it sit in the package, and then hauled it up here when I was ready to build. I think just sitting free, they got too much air to them. They were warping, and now I'm fighting. And here you can see this is, and I know that woodworkers will say, well, you know, warped wood and tongue and groove is always going to be a challenge. I don't do this every day, and that is super frustrating to get these to line up straight as I want them to be. But anyways, like I said, ratchet straps, using a screwdriver. What I do is I drive a screwdriver sometimes in here, and use that as a bit of a lever, a wedge to push on, and that has worked sort of well. And then I'm measuring every few boards. I write the measurement down. See, that one says 40 3/8, and I just measure from there to somewhere like the outside of the beam on the top, the peak beam, and then on the wall, I also measure from here to the end of the wall. And just get a rough idea. You know, you want to keep them kind of moving in the same direction. You can kind of fudge it and gap a little bit here, and just so you don't get too far out. By the time you get to the end, then you have to cut a board crooked and it looks funny. Anyways, that's taken way longer than I wanted. I started here yesterday afternoon. We got here and I've only got to this. We don't have too much further to go, but it's going slow because these boards are in horrible shape. And I know when I took the pallet apart or took the skid apart originally, they were not that bad. So something went funky with them sitting over the summer, and I kind of screwed up on that. But we're working through it, and we're going to get her together. Sun's coming up here over these trees. This is a great little spot.
Hey folks, next time we're going to do roofing, windows, and doors. Want to thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.